Hi, everybody. Dorothy here, professional astrologer. We're going to talk about the astrology for June 1st. We got, once a month, the moon's in the sign of Cancer. This happens every month, every year. However, right now, the declination where the moon is when it's in Cancer is very high in the northern sky. So if you're able to see the moon moving through her phases at this point in time, today, June 1st and tomorrow, June 2nd, especially when you look at her when she's the new moon. So she's going to be over there with the sun as it sets in the west, but it's still very high north. All right. I'm going to show you what that means. I know that's a little bit of science and astrology together, but astrology and astronomy have been one for a long time. They did get separated, but they are finally coming back together again. So thank you. My first astronomy for astrologers class was by Gemini Brett. He's fantastic. So if you want to know the science, go check him out. So today we're going to talk about what we have going on for June 1st and what we as a collective and even individually, we can sort of expect and see and feel around us. And then when we have a chance, we're going to do the Astro Dice. I still don't have them wholesale to sell. Sorry. I guess I could, but and we're going to end up with a deck. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to share my screen with you. While I'm doing that, please don't forget, this is my profession. Come to my website, DorothyMorganAstrologer.com. Really easy to remember, and that way you can connect with me there. And please comment below. I love to hear how you're experiencing this day and how you do experience this day. So reply later after the day has come and gone. So we're still in that new moon phase. That new moon was early in the morning here in the United States on May 30th, and we're still in the new moon phase, even though the moon's in Gemini and now, the sun's in Gemini and the moon is now in Cancer. Still, they're less than 45 degrees from each other. That means we're still creating. We're still in that baby stage where life is so fragile, like when the seed is just planted and it's has to have those perfect conditions to grow. I do this because that's kind of what seeds do. They sort of wiggle their way through the soil to the top. So at this point in time, we're still, just planted seeds, not sure where they're going yet, right? Not sure what's happening. And so let's talk about this moon in Cancer. All right. Oh, yeah. A little side note. I don't talk about the house placements here, and I don't talk about the ascendant in the midheaven because we all live on somewhere on this big blue marble, and those things will be different depending on your time zone. So I don't talk about them, but I do talk about the other things that are happening for everybody. So with the moon in the sign of Cancer, this is 8 a.m. June 1st. Eastern Daylight Time. Go ahead and figure out what time it is for you. And the moon in Cancer, early Cancer, the moon loves to be in Cancer. That's its own sign. It's at home. It's like being home. You can be you. You can comfort how you love to comfort yourself. All of your things are there. You feel comfortable. And we do have the moon in a very northern declination. Now, this has been going on for quite some time when the moon is in the second half of Gemini, all of Cancer, and the first half of Leo, when the moon is above the path of the sun. That's what that dotted line represents, is far north on that side, or as far south on that side that the sun moves through the sky. So the planets stay in that area within 30 degrees, and some planets will go past where the sun moves, high and low. Okay, here we are. Here's the moon in Cancer. Now for 24 hours, the moon in the sign of Cancer, even though it's moving through the zodiac, by declination, it is sitting still. So the moon appears to be moving slowly as it separates from the sun. And as it is in this high declination, this is north. You can see the end down there. So the moon is very high in the sky on that side of the declination bar. So that what that means is it's like the intensity of the moon in Cancer is heightened even more What are you feeling? What's the intensity mean? It's just like how emotional you are. We can be feeling overly emotional, more than usual, more than usual. Okay. So we have this intensity, and it's not easy to handle sometimes. It feels really, really uncomfortable because sometimes we don't know how to handle the emotions that are rising within us. So take care of yourself, be easy on yourself, allow yourself to have these feelings and these emotions, because it's just being human. And we can't like be down on ourselves because we're feeling overly emotional. This is going to happen. And especially when it's in Cancer right now, because it is making a 90-degree angle to that Mars Jupiter conjunction. Look at, here's Mars and Jupiter down here. They just moved into the northern side of the path of the sun, the ecliptic. So they just moved to the northern side. They're hanging out together there too. So they're hanging out together here, hanging out together here. At this point in time, 8 a.m. on June 1st, the moon is making a 90-degree angle. So this is about action. Action where? Who's taking care of me? You know, I can look at this and I can see that some people, this is not for everybody, but some people will be feeling very, very defensive. It's like, well, nobody ever does anything for me, or nobody takes care of me. And sometimes we can feel that inside when we don't get what we need out of our relationships. So we can feel that, and I can feel that, right? So that's a piece of what that can be. Now that is really personal, and it's so intense and really deep. And we're going to feel this for a little while. This sets off, we're going to feel this. I'm going to post this early. I'm not going to wait till the morning of June 1st to post this. I'm going to post this tonight. Just after I record it. I'm recording this on the 31st because I want us to feel this ahead of time. I might do this for a little while. I want us to feel these things ahead of time, especially when, it's this intense. Okay. So if you're feeling defensive or very selfish, or like nobody understands you or can take care of you, that's part of the energy of what's going on for a little while here early in the morning. We have to have the moon. The moon has to be in the sign of Cancer for this to feel really valid. And Eastern time, the moon moves into Cancer just before 2 a.m. on June 1st. Okay. So we're going to feel this for a few hours throughout the morning. We're going to really feel this throughout the morning and even early into the afternoon, because the moon won't make that exact square to Mars until 1:30. And this is all Eastern Daylight Time. If you don't know what that means, wherever you are, you look at the clock and then you ask Google, what time is it in Boston? And then you do the math, whether you add hours or subtract hours, it's up to you. It's a simple thing, but it's not always easy for everybody to understand different time zones. So feeling like really raw is what we got going on right now. And how can we use this for our betterment? How can we use this to make it through the day, to feel more inclined? For me, I'm going to find out, I'm not feeling the ways I was just talking about. That's not in my realm of existence. It has been, so I know how it feels, but not now. So for me, I'm going to look at where the Aries is in my chart. I'm going to look at where Cancer, this early degree of Cancer is in my astrology. And for me, I'm just going to emotionally get behind the things that I need to take action on. Action, Mars in Aries, Jupiter in Aries. What do I want to take? What do I need to take action on? Find that emotional component connected to it and act. That's what we need to do. I just told 2 people that I haven't seen in a very long time how much I miss them, just because life has been very lifey so far for 2022 for many of us. So that was just my way of inspiring or just enacting the energies of this. Just send out a couple emails. Two, and a couple, I mean, just a couple. All right. That is where I want to, I don't want to stop there, because look, if you look at this grid over here and you even look at where the sun is in Gemini, I use not overly tight aspects, but a little tighter than what most of the books do. I like things to be nice and clean so we can feel the energy. But if you look at the grid and you look right there, there is nothing with making any aspects to the sun. The sun in Gemini, since the new moon, is hanging out all by itself. So that means, whew, is it clear communication or communication that is just so wide open, we say what we shouldn't say? Or is it the Gemini, which is let's listen more? Let's listen more. So I'm looking at my notes. So that actually ever since the new moon on May 30th, this has been unaspected. Now, the moon will make a sextile to it in a couple of days. However, with the exception of the moon connecting with the sun, the sun has no aspects for 10 days, 10 more days. So that would be June 1st, well, actually May 30th to June 10th, with the exception of the moon making its quick daily within a couple of days aspect. So Sun in Gemini, lots of communication, clear information coming through, maybe too fast, too much, slow it down, get what you can from it. There's always a lot more. I'll share more as we go through the days, and you're welcome to come over to Patreon where I do some more in-depth stuff. All right, are we ready for the Astro Dice? Ask Spirit for an additional message for today. Or you can ask a question if you have one. All right, here comes the roll. Oh, almost off the South Node in Scorpio in the 4th house. So this is very karmic family. So the South Node does represent our karma with family or our karma in any capacity. Karma meaning what I know well, maybe what I need to be moving away from. And with it in Scorpio, that is deep connections, deep intent, a lot of intensity. We need to shift and change that. And the 4th house rule came up on the roll. So that, of course, is family connections, psychological beliefs, what our family has kind of trained us to believe from childhood. And it's not, it doesn't, I don't want you to think of it as overly negative. It just means sometimes, our family has beliefs, our parents raised us because they're going off of the information of what their parents taught them, unless they've learned to be more enlightened and are able to move beyond those deep psychological patterns that family brings down. That's called, the family lineage, what it is, ancestral beliefs. This is very deep. I think of Stephen Farmer every time I see stuff like this. I took some classes with him at Circles of Wisdom years ago, a few years back, just before pandemic time. I think that was the last class I was there, with the exception of me being there in person. It was fantastic because working on ancestral, your ancestral beliefs and what your family believed and where it comes from. So this tells me about working with that or not working with it, finding new ways to get beyond what your ancestors taught you, what you believe. It's a lot of healing can go on there. Yeah. All right, let's pull a card. I had to go back to some of my old February videos, and so I could figure out how I had that configuration. That represents, if you don't know, the 4 elements: fire, earth, air, and water. Fire is that one. That's earth, that's air, and that's water. That's the astrological order. All right, having a hot flash. Let's get this over with. Offerings. What does that mean? Offerings. I haven't pulled this card. Let's find it. Oh, here we go. I'm going to have to look this one up. Look at that. Stonehenge. I love it. So I guess let's take a look at what offerings means. So the offerings card, I mean, just like you would expect, making an offering as a gratitude and a blessing, offering the gods, the spirits, your ancestors, nature, looking out the window, offering them something in gratitude and thank you for their support and their presence in your life. So this is a wonderful way, and just a reminder to be grateful for what is in your life and who is in your life. Okay, I think I'm going to leave us with that. Time for the break. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for your support. Please share with your groups, and thank you so much. Blessings. Namaste.